Alrighty, good morning. We are starting, 10.2 today. Volume of triangular prisms. Now, before we get started, two things. One is that you can use a calculator. You should use a calculator. On the test that I graded yesterday, not in Sycamore, but in Google Classroom, I saw a lot of computation errors, which means just calculation errors. And I realized that a lot of people did not read the directions. The directions told you that you could use a calculator. So, you missed points on that. That was silly because you should have used a calculator. For 10.2, you can also use a calculator. So go ahead and get yours ready if you don't already have it. The second thing is that I am going to have a Zoom session today for, probably around, let's make it 3 o'clock. So I will have a Zoom session at 3 o'clock today. If you want to join it, if you feel uncomfortable about these notes or the homework or have any questions for any reason, the Zoom session will be at 3 o'clock. However, I will not host it if I don't get any comments on the video. So if you want to join the Zoom session today at 3 o'clock, then you need to comment on the video, me, or whatever. Comments that I know you want to join. Otherwise, I will not hold the Zoom session. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and start. 10.2. Now, super duper important. 10.1, our baseline formula, our original formula, forever and always, was V equals capital B times H. That's the exact same formula that we're using for volume of triangular prisms. Volume of prisms, you will always use this baseline formula. V equals area of base, capital B, times H, height of the prism, always. Now, the breakdown of that formula changes based on whatever type of prism you're dealing with, because it says area of base. Well, the prism is named off of the base. Triangular prism. Triangle is the base. So area of the base, you need to know how to find the area of a triangle. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. But you're still multiplying it by the height of the prism. So that gets a little dicey. But your breakdown should still be the same, right? If you're using a triangular prism, 1/2 times base times height times height. So this lowercase b means something very different than the uppercase b. Uppercase b means area of the base. Lowercase b just means the base of the triangle. Base of the triangle, which we've got right here. Now the height with the triangle, right, is the height of the triangle. This height, let's see, we're using green for that. This height means height of the prism. That has nothing to do with the triangle. So down here where you see this 9 inches, that is the height of the actual prism. So if you set the prism on its base, so if you set the prism on this triangle part, it would be 9 inches tall, right? So the green 9 inches has nothing to do with the height of the triangle. That dotted line with the right angle, that is the height of the triangle, the 3 inches. The 4 inches is the base of the triangle. We will label everything before we plug it in. Alrighty, so example 1, find the volume of the triangular prism. We are starting just like we started last time with our baseline formula. V equals capital B times H. And then we're going to break it down. Now, since we're working with a triangular prism, area of the base is a triangle, so it's 1/2 base times height of the prism, and that equals our volume. Once we've broken down that formula, we are going to write out and label all parts of it. Now, you'll notice that we have 2 H's. The first h is the height of the base, so I'm going to write base there. The second h is the height of the prism. They are two different numbers. They're talking about two different heights. Keep that in mind. That is how you will label it on your homework. Alrighty, so volume, we don't know. It says we're finding the volume. Okay, well then, do I know my base? Yep, the base is this 2 yards. It's the base of the triangle, so it's 2. Do we know the height of the base? Yes, it's this dotted blue line, right? That height of the base is only talking about the triangle, so it's 1.7. The height of the prism, yep, that's our 3 yards. The height of the prism has nothing to do with the base. Alrighty, and now I just plug in what I know. So I don't know V, so I'm going to keep that there. 1/2. B is 2. The height of, so remember that first h is the height of the base, so that's 1.7 times 3. Now, here's where you should use your calculator, kind of. We know 1/2 times 2 is 1. 1 times 1.7 is 1.7. But simplify the triangle part and then multiply it by the height of the prism. If you didn't know 1/2 times 2 times 1.7, I would type in your calculator, do 0.5 because that's 1/2 times 2 times 1.7, and you will get 1.7. Now 1.7 times 3 gives us 5.1. Now volume is cubed, so it's 5.1 yards cubed. Keep in mind, tonight on your homework, a few of them say round to the nearest tenth. We also missed points on our test because we mixed up rounding to the nearest tenth. So if our answer were 5.123, the nearest tenth would be 5.1, right? This is our tenth place. We look 1 to the right. The 2 tells us to keep the 1 there, so it becomes only 5.1. Keep that in mind today for your homework. Alrighty, example 2. Find the volume of the triangular prism. We start out the same way every single time. We write down our baseline formula. It's purple today. There we go. V equals capital B times H. Capital B means area of the base. Since we're working with a triangular prism, the base is a triangle, so the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height of the prism equals our volume. And again, as always, we're going to label what we know. V, got B for the base, I've got height of the base, and I've got height of the prism. Be sure to write that down. All right. Since we don't know volume, I'm leaving it blank. The base is that 4 inches. The height of the base is that 7 inches. The height of the prism is this 10 inches. Now, tonight on your homework, let's see, number 2. Number 2 is tricky because they give you extra information. Don't worry about the extra information. You only need 3 numbers. It's that 7, the 4, and the 10. If I gave you like 3 here, 3 here, those 3's don't matter at all, right? I only need the base. I only need the height. If I put the 3, here or over here, they also don't matter. That's just extra information. They're trying to see, do you actually know what the base is, what the height is? Don't use them. So number 2 in your homework gives you extra information, and that's the only one. So just be careful with that. Alrighty, now I'm going to plug in what I know. So I don't know my V, so I'm going to keep it. 1/2. My base is 4. My height is 10. Sorry, it's not. It's 7. Height of the base is 7 times height of the prism, which is 10. So I'm going to do this 1/2 times 4 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14 times 10. 14 times 10 is 140. So it's 140 inches cubed. Alrighty. Example 3. volume again. For some reason, I'm really sticking with the 7s here. I've used a 7 and 1.7. Okay, maybe not. Alrighty, so start same thing. Go ahead and try this on your own and then check your work with mine. We're not going to do the got it's today, even though it says to, just because it's so repetitive. So I would like you to try this one on your own, then check your work with mine. V equals capital B times H. We're starting out the same way every single time. Get it in your head. Just do it. Today you'll probably need to show all of your work in a notebook. Actually, you will. There's not enough room to squeeze it into your textbook. Then I'm going to label what I know. B, H, height of base, height of prism. I don't know my V, but I do know B. The base is 4. The height of the base is 3.5. Height of the prism is 7. Plug in what I know. 4, height of the base is 3.5 times 7. So 1/2 times 4 is 2. 2 times 3.5 is 7. Times 7, of course, use your calculator if need be. 7 times 7 is 49 inches cubed. So check your work, make sure it matches mine. Obviously, let me know if you have any questions. This next one, example 4. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Numbers 6, 7, and 8. That is where you're going to have to find the missing dimension. Now, for your test, I saw a lot of mistakes with the missing dimensions one, only because we were not simplifying completely before dividing on both sides. So pay attention to this guy. Again, it's asking us to do something different, but we start out the exact same way every single time. V equals capital B times H. Since it's a triangular prism, my pen is funky today. It's going to be 1/2 base times height times height. Then I'm going to label what I know. Height of base, height of prism. Now, I haven't even looked at the question, but I'm starting out the exact same way. Now, here it says, well, it doesn't say, but find the missing dimension. The volume is 98, okay? Now, here's what's important. The height has to be perpendicular to the base, which means you have to look for that right angle. What two numbers here are related to the right angle? This 5 and this 9.8. They gave us extra information with that 7. Do we need it? No. And we don't need it because it's not perpendicular to the base. It does not create a 90-degree angle here or here. Oh, so you do not need it, right? Alrighty. So we only need the 5, we only need the 9.8. 9.8 is our B. 5 is our height. Now, we do not know the height of our prism. So I'm going to just use H or X, right? But since we're looking for H, I'm going to use the same variable. Alright, now I'm going to plug in what I know. 98 equals 1/2 base is 9.8. Height is 5. Now we don't know the height of the prism. Okay, so here I would use your calculator. So 1/2 is the same thing as 0.5. So I'm going to do 0.5 times 9.8 times 5, and I get 24.5. So here's what we did not do on our test. We did not simplify that. We did not get 24.5. We messed with the 5, we messed with the 9.8, we divided, something's funky, right? Simplify, now divide both sides by that 24.5. Oopsie. Alrighty, 98 divided by 24.5 gives us 4. 4 equals H. Now, another thing we did on our test, we forgot our units. For what? It's 4 meters. That is our final answer. Do not lose a half point because you forgot your units. Alrighty, homework. All of it needs to be in a notebook. If you want to join the Zoom session at what did I say? Yeah, 3 o'clock. Let me know. You have to comment on the video or I will not hold a Zoom session because I'm not going to wait for people to join if I don't know people are joining. And I will either see you later today or I will hear from you if you have any questions or just in general have an awesome day.